As humans, it's inevitable for us to ask random questions, as being curious is a very natural thing. And the best way for me to represent this is by talking to the guys. Now, we've all been in late night calls with the boys, and due to feeling like you can say or ask anything, we've all blurted out some of the most outlandish stuff you'll ever hear. We'll be saying random stuff like, yo, how many chickens do you think we could take on? Or could we take on a lion, wolf, or even bear? Yeah, we say outlandish things all the time, and many times has it gone viral on the internet. Like, remember when people was arguing who would win between a bear and a gorilla? Yeah, stuff like this happens all the time. And of late, when I went onto Twitter, I did see that somebody said if we all locked in, 100 men could take on a gorilla. And I've seen way too many people discuss this, so I was like, you know what, why not I be the person to actually seriously answer that question? So yes, as you can tell by the title and thumbnail, in this video, I'm going to be putting 100 men up against one gorilla to see if they'd win. Yeah, strap in because I'm gonna get real in depth with this video. But before I get into the video, if you guys enjoy content like this, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe, as I do post content like this regularly, and to be honest, it's a win-win. You guys show me love and support, and I give it back to you in the form of videos. Whether it's humans versus gorillas, anime, or just fiction in general, in due time I plan on covering it, so be there when I go there. I feel like I've rambled on long enough, so I jump straight into the video and see who would win between 100 men and a gorilla. Now, before we get into the video, I'm gonna have to go over the rules so you guys know what I'm doing this by. And the rules will be simple, like the first rule. The first rule will go over what type of state people will be in, and I'll be putting everybody in an optimal state, meaning that yeah, they're going to be thinking, but they're also going to be bloodlusted while fighting. This means that they'll be thinking of the most optimal way to then kill the gorilla, and the gorilla is going to be in a very bloodlusted state, but also trying to get rid of the humans that are running at him. Now, one thing I will add here is that there are going to be 2 different rounds that the gorilla has to go through. Obviously, the gorilla is going to be able to rest since, well, that's just not fair for the gorilla to just continuously fight humans. But yeah, the first round is going to be against the average man, and then the second round is then going to be the gorilla up against peak humans, or just humans in peak physical condition, and they know some sort of martial arts. Now, the second rule will cover if any weapons will be allowed, and the answer is no. The gorilla will not be allowed to pick up any branches or anything that can be used as a weapon, and nor will the humans. Meaning, yes, everybody here will be using their raw physical strength to fight. And for the third and final rule, I'll be covering where this fight will take place, and I'm just going to put it on a massive field where there's just a bunch of grass and no trees around. And so with that being said, why don't I jump straight into the scaling. To begin with, I'm going to go over how strong the regular man is, and whilst doing so, I'm then going to add in how strong they would be with peak physical strength and conditioning. And so to start, I'm going to go over the AP, or just raw strength. And it's stated that the regular man can exert 150 psi, which is pounds per square inch. And if you want to know how strong that is, that should be enough to break some human bones. And when I say some, I do mean smaller bones. But this does mean that you should be able to dent a regular wall, which is not too impressive, but I mean, it's better than nothing. And I mean, to be honest, you'd usually just use this force on another person, which is pretty okay to hit another person, but we're talking about a gorilla. Obviously, if you're mad, it could go way higher than this, since the gap between somebody that's meant to be average and somebody that's meant to be trained is drastic. And when I say drastic, it goes from 150 up to 800, so there's a big gap. So I'm gonna assume that when you're mad, you should be able to exert more than this, but a regular punch should be at 150 psi, while the regular punch from somebody that's at peak physical condition should be at around 800 psi. Now, one thing I do want to add is that humans do have something that allows them to break past their limits for a short period of time. We've seen Eddie Hall do it, and obviously that one guy that did lift a car, but I'm not going to put it here as it's going to be safe for the hack section. So why don't we move into our speed. For the average male, in terms of speed, they could run around 6.6 miles per hour, which in my opinion is extremely slow, because I think we've seen people run 10 to 15 miles per hour on a regular basis. I don't know, maybe that's just me, and when I went snooping around on Reddit, they did agree. But then the statistics said something else, and that's just making me think that, you know what, why don't I just say it from 6.6 miles per hour up to 15 miles per hour? And that's a very wide gap, but considering it's the average male, every average person is different when it comes down to their certain attributes, so I mean, that's pretty fair. For the average person's reaction / perception speed, they should be around 250 milliseconds, and for their attack speed, the average human should be able to throw a punch at around 3 to 7 meters per second. For the men in peak physical condition, running at around 25 to 27 miles per hour should be about right. For their reaction speed, they should be able to react in 100 milliseconds, and finally for their attack speed, it should be around 22 to 27 miles per hour, which is pretty impressive considering most cars and trucks move that fast, and when they hit you, yeah, you feel it. Up next we have durability, and human skin, even with peak physical conditioning, your skin will break under the weirdest circumstances. I mean, paper cuts exist, and we know our skin could be torn to shreds by anything that's even slightly sharp. We do know that people are out there to obviously harden their skin and whatnot, but at a certain point, what's the point of us even being able to talk about our durability when it is quite literally a gorilla we are going up against? I don't think there's any need for me to explain our durability here. Moving on, we have endurance, and the average male when pushed to their limit can take several broken bones and a decent amount of blood loss before they eventually give in. And along with that, the average person should be able to run a mile, so that means that their endurance isn't that bad. On the other hand, for men in peak physical shape, breaking several bones and having many other gruesome things happen to them is plausible for them to then go on, as the main difference between men in peak conditioning and just the average Joe is quite literally their mentality. If you want to reach the highest level your body can get to, there has to be something in you that allows you to always tap into something deep inside of you, meaning that, yeah, you should be able to just take more damage than the average person, since, well, you've conditioned your body to be way above them, meaning for you to even grow your body that well, you need to have some sort of mental discipline there. Meaning they should definitely be able to endure more than the average Joe, since when you have to gruelingly train your body for a certain sport or just train it in general, you have to tap into something that is different to whatever the average Joe has to tap into on a day-to-day basis as well. You are constantly working your body, and anybody that's worked their body in any sort of way knows that it gets to a point where you're like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, and you just have to sit there and be like, no, I have to continue going. And for their stamina, well, you can walk and run for a very long time once you reach that peak physical human conditioning, but then you just need to obviously stop to do your normal necessities like peeing, pooping, eating. There are just certain things that you do need to do, but you can last for a very, very long time. To back this up, we have a guy called Dean, I'm not going to say his surname because I'll butcher it, who was able to run 350 miles, which he did over 3.5 days. He did this without stopping or sleeping. So that's pretty impressive. That is very, very impressive. So I'm going to automatically assign that to every peak human and move on to their battle IQ. Now for the regular man, they'll have some sort of battle knowledge, as maybe they have seen or gone to an army camp, or maybe they've seen a few boxing fights, maybe taken a few classes in BJJ, Taekwondo. But let's just say that most of them have some sort of combat sports background, or just something where they know how to at least throw a punch and a kick. On the other hand though, we have the people that are in peak human shape and just peak condition, and they're gonna have real martial arts skills / experience, and on top of that, they're gonna have military training. This means they're going to be extremely proficient when it comes to fighting, and they're gonna be able to come up with deadly strategies to take down the gorilla. Maybe they'll know a few things about gorillas even going into the fight that the average man may not know. So with that being said, I'll move into the final stat, and that's their hacks. Now both groups shared this exact same thing, and I think you guys know what this is. It's adrenaline. I've been hinting towards it throughout the whole video, and as we all know, it allows us to do more than what we are usually able to do. Being able to feel more pain exert more energy / force, or just being able to think faster in split-second situations. Yeah, adrenaline is going to be key in this fight as well. You're gonna need adrenaline when going up against the gorilla. And so with that being said, I feel like I've said everything I need to say for humans, so why don't I move into the gorilla? And so to begin the gorilla section, I'm going to go over what type of gorilla we're going to be using, and I'm going to be using the silverback, as they are the strongest of the gorillas, and just apes in general, to be honest. For their AP / strength, a fully grown silverback can lift 4,000 pounds, and for the people that use kilograms, that is 1,810 kilograms. That's over a ton. That's nearly 2 tons that they can lift on their own, by the way. Yeah, that's pretty insane. Up next is their speed, and gorillas can run up to 25 miles per hour in short bursts and have similar reaction times to peak humans, meaning they're extremely deadly in combat scenarios. To follow up on that, we have their durability, and as we can see, silverbacks actually fight each other, meaning yes, they can at the bare minimum take nearly 2 tons of pressure hitting them and be fine. These guys are absolute monsters, and although a well-placed bullet can pierce their skin, no bullets are allowed, meaning that yeah, they're pretty tough. Up next is their endurance, and for their stamina, they are way more suited to short distances and just shorter base things, as their body doesn't support long distance things. Although they can walk for a long period of time, short distances or things that don't go on that long are better suited to them, as their body just doesn't allow them to go on for that long. Finally, you have their pain tolerance, and let's just say that their pain tolerance is extremely high, as they are able to take a lot of broken bones and a lot of blood loss before going down, as their body just naturally allows it. And so to follow up on their amazing endurance, we have their battle IQ, and I mean, you're seeing it on screen. Gorillas are they're just dumb. They fight like the apes they are. Their scuffles look like what people think Dragon Ball fights look like. I mean, that's really it. They essentially just fight with pure emotion, it seems like, and just wing it until they win or eventually tire out and lose. So yeah, in this category is definitely it's a category of all time. Let's just say it's their weakest stat by far, and it's not even close. But finally, we have their hacks, and one thing I do want to mention first is their bite, as they can exert 1,300 psi per bite. That is double what a lion can do, and everybody for some reason gasses up lions' bites. Yeah, it doesn't even hold a candle to a gorilla, as a gorilla is literally double what they can output. They also have enhanced smell, and just like us, they do get adrenaline spikes, meaning they get the exact same buff that we do when that happens. So you can only imagine how much stronger they get when that adrenaline spike does occur. But with that being said, I feel like I said everything I need to say about gorillas. If I didn't miss anything out, I'll obviously include it in the versus battle, and the exact same thing with humans. So with that being said, why don't I jump straight into the fight and see who would win? Would 100 men be able to beat the gorilla, or would the gorilla be able to triumph and beat the 100 men? To begin, I'm going to go over 100 regular men. Now, as stated before, the gorilla can move at 25 miles per hour in short bursts, while regular humans can move from 6 to 15 miles per hour. Now, before I even do any strength scaling, that just already tells us that if the gorilla is extremely bloodlusted and he's going to fight 100 people, most of them are going to be able to get blitzed. So, how does this realistically go? Well, I'm going to be very blunt with you guys. They don't have any weapons. They can't do as much as a gorilla can do, even though their adrenaline is probably pumping right now. Let's just say that once the gorilla starts to bulldoze through them, 100 regular men, even if they try to pounce on them, would not be able to stop that gorilla, mainly because the speed difference is quite insane. Even though it's 10 miles per hour, you need to remember that humans have to build up to obviously moving at that speed, and although they should be able to perceive it, when they try to counter it, it's just not gonna matter. The gorilla's just gonna be able to move through everyone, and if anybody tries to stop it by grabbing its mouth or anything, yeah, it's just gonna bite through your hand. So although it would be a pretty cool thing to sit there, it wouldn't be pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like 100 men with their raw fists and just like a field of grass isn't going to be nice against a gorilla. You'd think pouncing on it would do the trick, but I mean, the gorilla's just going to be wild. There is no method to its madness when we're putting in the bloodlusted state, at least. If it was a regular gorilla, then it would probably back away, but if it's bloodlusted, then it's just going to keep swinging. And I don't think, especially when its adrenaline may be running, I just don't see 100 regular men being able to stop it. That speed disadvantage is insane. So yeah, I'm sorry to say the 100 regular men will lose this. Now for the men that are in peak physical condition that also know military tactics and whatnot, they'd be able to actually do something. Now, although I'd say they weigh around 180 pounds or maybe even up to 200, this would be pretty hard for them, and I think they're gonna obviously ascertain and understand that a few of us are going to need to die for this to actually work. But with them actually teaming up on the gorilla, using their brains and whatnot, they should be able to pin it down and do certain things to it, like, I don't know, trying to rip out its eyes or something. That should be able to work. I mean, if they're able to just possibly hold its mouth in place, or just do something to where its head is still and they're able to do what they need to do. But just know that everybody's going to be hunking down its arms and keeping its body still, and if the gorilla decides to, you know, pull a fast one, then they may just end up dying. But I think it's more plausible for them to win here. I'm not gonna say that they 100% win, but let's just say I think it's more plausible for them to win, especially if they use their brains here. I know that a few of them are gonna need to die for this to actually pull it off. So yeah, who actually wins? Peak humans, or 100 peak humans at that, versus one gorilla? Yeah, the gorilla still wins because of its muscle mass and just its durability overall. We just can't get past it, so they win. And so with that being said, you guys have reached the end of the video. Did I have fun making this video? Hell yes. I saw people talking about this on Twitter and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to make for my next video. Then I remembered, wait, hold on, I could just make this. Yo, this was funny as hell, man. If you guys want more videos like this, just tell me. I don't mind making more dumb videos like this. This is actually pretty funny. I did like making this. Just like my other joke videos. Hey, if you guys want me to do it, I'll continue doing it. But yeah, thank you guys for the support. I love you all. I'll see you guys in the next video. So yeah, I love you all. Goodbye.